You ever stop and wonder if the way you experience the world, the way you remember things, or even just relax is the same as everybody else? Well, today we're going to dive into a really fascinating part of the human experience that challenges everything we think we know about our own minds. That's a real quote from someone with a condition called aphantasia. Just think about that for a second. For them, that little movie screen that so many of us have in our heads, it's just off, permanently. There's no picture, no mental images, just nothing. I mean, how many times have you heard that phrase? Just picture a quiet beach. It's the foundation for so many wellness tools, for creativity, for memory. But what happens when you just can't? This isn't just some hypothetical question. For a whole slice of the population, this is their everyday reality.
And that reality can be absolutely terrifying when you don't know what's going on. This is where Edie's story comes in. For years, she had this feeling like her own life was just blowing away. Her memories felt more like footnotes than actual films, and it led to this quiet, constant fear. Was she losing her mind? You see, a huge part of Edie's fear was simply not having a name for what she was going through. So, let's fix that. There are two key conditions we need to talk about, and just understanding them was the first step that changed everything for her. Okay, so first up we have aphantasia. When a meditation app says, imagine a beautiful sunset, a lot of people can actually see the oranges, the purples, the blues in their head. Well, for someone with aphantasia, their mind totally gets the concept of a sunset. They know all the facts about it, but there's no screen inside to project it onto. Their mind's eye is blind. And aphantasia often brings a friend to the party, SDAM. Think about your 8th birthday party. Can you remember it? Not just the facts, but the feeling of it, the sounds, what it was like to be there. That's episodic memory. With SDAM, that's gone. The memory is basically a dry fact sheet. You know what happened, but you can't really travel back in time and relive it. So let's put these two side by side to make it super clear. Think of it like this. With aphantasia, the projector screen in your head is dark. You can't see the movie of your thoughts. With SDAM, the film itself is missing. You can't relive the experience of your memories. They're technically two different things, but for a lot of people, they really are two sides of the same coin. And get this isn't some new thing people just came up with. The idea was actually first written about way back in 1880 by a guy named Francis Galton. But then, nothing. It was basically ignored for over 100 years until 2015, when Professor Adam Zeman and his team finally gave it the official name aphantasia. That name gave it legitimacy. And that legitimacy, wow, it changes everything. For Edie, and for so many others, finally having a name for it was life-altering. That was the moment her whole internal story shifted from this deep fear of, I am broken, to this powerful understanding of, I am built differently. Okay, so you finally understand you're built differently. That's a huge relief. But then you immediately run into the next problem. You're living in a world that wasn't built for you. And the wellness industry in particular seems to have this massive blind spot. I mean, come on, we've all heard this a million times, right? It's the go-to script for basically every meditation and relaxation app out there. It's supposed to be this easy path to calm. But for a whole lot of people, it's just a locked door. This quote just nails the feeling perfectly. That kind of prompt isn't just useless, it's actively frustrating. It forces you to focus on the one thing your brain literally cannot do, which is, the exact opposite of relaxing. And it goes deeper than just frustration. On a neurological level, it can actually trigger something called effortful thinking. Your brain is working overtime, trying to solve this impossible puzzle, translating a visual command it can't perform. So instead of calming down, you're mentally straining, and your anxiety can actually go up. So what do you do when the tools everyone else uses just don't work for you? Well, if you're 80, you build your own. This entire journey led her to create something completely different, a new kind of tool called Vessel and Volume. The whole philosophy is right there in the name. This app isn't about imagining you're somewhere else. It's about anchoring you in your own body. That's the vessel. And using physical vibrational presence, that's the volume, to ground you right here, right now. So how does it actually do that without any visuals? Well, it uses a couple of really clever methods. First, instead of asking you to imagine anything, it gets you to focus on what you can physically feel right now, like your feet on the floor. That's the somatosensory bridge. Second, it uses sound not just as something to listen to, but as a physical vibration you can actually feel in your body. It becomes a real, tangible anchor. At the heart of this app are 9 carefully designed frequency levels. You can think of it like a toolkit for your nervous system. Feeling totally overwhelmed and untethered? You'd use the low frequencies for deep anchoring. Just need to stay present during a busy day? The mid-range frequencies are for that. And if you're trying to cut through that mental fog, the high frequencies are designed to bring clarity. It's all about giving you the right tool for the job. Now, what I think is really, really cool about this whole project is how it's being made. It's not being built behind some closed corporate door. Edie is developing the whole thing out in the open, and she's inviting the community to actually help shape it. And if you're thinking, hey, I want to be a part of this, there are a few ways you can jump in. You can become a paid subscriber and get your hands on early versions of the audio tracks. If you want to be even more involved, you can join as an anchor. That makes you a founding member with a real say in how it develops. Or you can just follow along and read about the journey as it happens. So if any of this is clicking with you, or if you're just fascinated by this whole idea, the place you gotta go is Rabbit Flea Productions on Substack. That's where you can find all the updates and become part of building this thing from the ground up. And all of this kind of leaves us with one last big question, doesn't it? We are constantly being told to escape, to visualize a better place. But what if the real path to being grounded, for all of us, isn't about manufacturing some reality in our minds, but about learning how to more fully live inside the physical, tangible reality we're already in? Something to think about.